Hey, welcome back. Today, Gold Rush is getting an update to its off-road lights. So we're actually going to install a couple sets of pod lights on the cowls, and we're going to be using the DV8 cowl brackets. From DV8 is not my favorite brand to use, but big part of it is I think that their powder coating is pretty terrible. But we did get these actually re-powder coated gold, so that shouldn't be a problem. On my previous Jeep, I actually used the rigid cowl mounts, which are awesome. Highly recommend them, but they do not fit the 392 or the Mojave.
Yep, because of the hood, right?
Yeah.
That part of it is different.
They get like about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of extra hood clearance there on both of those with the hood scoop and everything. So had to go find another option. This was the best looking one of what was available.
Yeah, so now it's just pretty simple install. Mounting the pod lights to this, throwing some of the cowl and just running a little bit of wire. Shouldn't take too long.
Yep. Step one, got to mount the lights on them. So we're going to get right to that.
Let's do it.
All right, so I picked out two different types of lights for this. First, I have the rigid side shooter floodlights, which are going to go on the outside. What I like about these is they have a really wide range of light because it has these extra LEDs on the side. And then in more towards the middle are actually some spotlights, just the rigid pods. And they're going to go over here, which obviously just shoot far out. So I think that gives a really good combination of distance and range. So get to mounting them. All right, so once the pods are mounted, they do provide some of these peel and stick pads just to protect the paint on the Jeep. So we're just gonna peel it. Basically goes over where it's gonna be making contact. We can now go to the Jeep and start taking off some panels. All right, so passenger side, we're gonna use a T40 Torx bit and remove these 4 screws. Make sure to keep them because we're actually gonna reuse, I believe, 3 out of the 4. Okay, so this panel slides out from underneath this one. So we're gonna put everything into place where it's going to be, and we're gonna run our wire right through this foam over here to get into the engine bay, because everything's gonna connect in there, obviously. You just wanna run the wire exactly where you're gonna have it. So I think that's good, and it's gonna come around the front. All right. Now we can actually do the wire part afterwards. We're gonna open up the hood. So with that basically in position with the wires where you want them, you want to slide that back underneath. All right, so you can actually see under the hood you have a gap here, so you can easily get your hand in there. As long as you have access to your wires, you're in good shape, which I do. These are going to connect to the harness that goes, well, right over here. All right, that is in place. The cowl panel snaps right in. You have a little bit of wire. You can decide how to do your wire management. All right, so we have the wires routed. You can see the harnesses coming out here. We're actually going to end up connecting them to the rigid harnesses, just to give us some extra slack. And that's going to end up coming right underneath here. And actually, they're already exactly where we want them. And then we're going to have a couple more coming from the other side. So with that, we use the 2 stock bolts up here. One of the stock ones back here. And then they provide you with a replacement one for up here. All right, so once everything is nice and tight, just double check all of the bolts. It looks like these top ones, I think they just keep spinning forever, even when it's fully tightened. Because it just, at some point, just gets to, you can feel it's not moving. All right, so we're gonna go do the exact same thing on the other side, and we'll be back to do the wiring. All right, so we got the other side mounted. We connect our harness, and then we're just gonna run the wires all the way to that side and connect everything over there. So we're putting our ground, the ground, just bind all the wires into one. All right. Now for the other ones, so I want all of the off-road lights to be in the same spot. So I'm using one of these just 5-to-1 connectors. Makes it easier. I'm not sure what I want to do later. I'm kind of thinking of getting a third-party switch panel in here. If I do that, I want to undo this, so I don't want to start soldering and all of that fun stuff. And this should do the trick. Wire's already pretty good here. Not much extra slack, so just tuck them in here. Let's close the hood and go test it out. All right, we have everything mounted and buttoned up. I'm going to go inside and turn them on, make sure everything works. Felix, I need you to stand there and look right at the lights to make sure that everything is working properly. All right, that's another one down. Got the lights installed. Everything looks good.
What's left?
Just got to duck it.
That's
on to the next one.